Hey everyone and welcome to another video, and before we get into it, I wanted to quickly announce my second channel. So I've started a second channel named Mid Lane Academy, and I'm going to be uploading a few of my coaching sessions that I do through my Mid Lane Academy on this YouTube channel. So if you're interested in checking out what my coaching is like and what some of the sessions are like, feel free to subscribe and check out this second channel. I'll try and at least upload one, maybe two a week if possible. But I think it's great to kind of share some of these with the community. If you have any questions about how the Mid Lane Academy works, just let me know. Otherwise, without further ado, let's dive into an older coaching session I did with Kayan from the Mid Lane Academy. It's a great one to watch if you find yourself dying to a lot of ganks, especially if you're in like gold, low plat, or if you're a melee-oriented type of player. You play champs like Aurelia, Yasuo, Yone, Akali, etc. So let's dive straight in. Okay, man. So our first session, but you joined ages ago, right? You just didn't have the opportunity or the time to come in, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So give me a bit of a rundown, man. How long have you played the game for?
Okay. Season 7, I played until level like 20. Just playing random people, and then I took a break until like end of season 9, and then I started playing ranked season 10. Or no, I started playing ranked season 11, and I've just been playing Yasuo and Yone.
Okay, you're
Through
very new
Shakina.
then. You're very new.
Oh, I don't know. My account level's 212, so
I don't know what that means. I don't really...
okay.
As in,
Um,
so is that a lot of games in normals or something?
okay, I played Norms quite a bit, like a lot during season 9, and then I played a lot during quarantine as well, so
Okay.
season 10
Right,
and 11.
okay. So a lot of norms.
Yeah. And then last season, I had 600 rank games.
Lovely. Okay. And so what rank did you finish last season?
Gold 1.
Okay. And what rank are you now?
Gold 490.
Okay.
Healthy.
Lovely. Let's take a look, man. So you're a Yasuo main. You play Yasuo and Yone.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a Yasuo v Lissandra. Now, what do you struggle with? What do you say are some of the reasons you lose games?
Warding.
You think warding is
For
the
sure.
issue? Okay.
I think that's one of them. I feel like I forget to ward quite often. Like I'll buy a pink when I leave, and then I'll die with it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to ask you a few questions as we're going through this, just so we can get completely aligned and I can understand the way you view the game. So what goes through your mind when you're entering a lane phase like this?
In this matchup, basically, as soon as I see her use an ability, or the first thing I was thinking about was just trying to hit level 2 first. I know it's really hard when she's zoning me off, but I don't think she zoned me off that much here. So I just tried to rush level 2 and take a level 2 versus level 1 trade.
Okay.
And then every time she uses an ability, I just try to go in.
Yep. Now you're versing a Vi. Now Lissandra obviously has a lot of great gank setup, and Vi has very good ganks. So you got to be a little bit careful, especially at level 6.
Yep.
All right, so we get level 2. We take a nice little short trade there. Lovely. Okay. Wave is going to be in a little bit of a nasty spot here.
Yeah.
All right, but we get a nice little short trade again. We do have D shield for the sustain. Pretty sure Vi started bot, if I remember correctly. It's 2 minutes 30.
Yeah.
Now, what's going through your mind here?
Um, I was trying to. I was thinking about pushing the wave, but I was gonna like EQ through cannon and kill the casters, but I felt like Vi was gonna be here really
Right.
quickly, and then I didn't make a decision in time, and the wave got worse.
Yeah, so the wave really is in a nasty position. So if you are going to play for that level 2 strategy, you got to really make sure that you have enough time to get the wave in. Otherwise, I'll just let the wave come out into your side.
Okay.
All right, there's Vi. It looks like she's actually done a top to bot, not a bot to top, from the looks of things. Right, we actually get pincered here, unfortunately. Wow, you actually play that really well, man. Well done. That's basically best case scenario there, really, isn't it? Well, that
Yeah,
was
pretty much.
flashes. Liz flashed as well, I think. Was it Vi? No, no flashes. Just
No
Vi.
flashes.
Okay.
I thought I would do enough damage to Lysandra, but then she claws away or walks away or something,
Yep.
and I panic, so I just try to run away.
Okay. Now we don't have flash, so we're going to be a little bit careful here. This list is quite Okay. And this is kind of, would you say this is a common occurrence? Like dying to ganks like
Kind
this?
of, yeah. Kind of, yeah.
Okay. And when you review this, and by the way, do you review your games?
No, not really.
Okay. That's okay. All right. And do you play in blocks of 3, or you kind of just more play whenever you feel like it type thing?
I play whenever I feel like it, but when I do play, I do blocks of 3, so I don't have like a set schedule.
Lovely. Okay. So when you play blocks of 3, but you don't like. It's not like you know exactly when you're going to play. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's going through your mind here?
She hasn't. Honestly, I just thought that if we won, she was kind of far up, and if we were to 1v1, that I would
Yep.
do more damage or win.
And she also has no pots, so heavy trading would be great for you anyway. Even if Nocturne wasn't here, it wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wave's in a better position now, isn't it? Lovely.
Yeah.
Gives
I
you.
feel like it's another thing I don't think about a lot is wave management. I just focus a lot about trading and CSing.
Right. Okay. And so you're saying that in the game itself, you don't actively think this is a good wave state for me, this isn't a good wave state for me, or is it that you do kind of know what is good or bad, but you don't really think about how to get in that position?
Second one, yeah.
Okay. So you know that intuitively, or just from a feeling perspective, it feels nice to have the wave on your side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Again, we have no flash. Wave's in a nasty position. These ward spots aren't the best, are they? Because you're not really getting max value from the ward. It'd be much better to kind of ward on that ledge. Just you get more time to react if Vi actually comes from that side. Because you only now have time to react if she walks around the corner. She's basically already there. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely. So we get the wave in. Wave is going to come out to you right now. It looks like Liz is likely basing, right? Because she was quite low. Okay. So it looks like here you decide to shove, I'm assuming. Yep. Lovely. Shove, shove, shove. This looks like a great shove and reset window. Excellent. Excellent.
I think that's what I did. Yeah.
Well done. Okay. Okay, so we come back. We see Vi on top side. We still don't have flash. Liz has level 6, so we've got to be a little bit careful. But that ward onto the blue really helps with our threat assessment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, right now, so do you understand much about waves? How much do you know about waves, like in just terms of how they work?
I understand the concept of like freezing and slow pushing and stuff like that. But I don't really think I'm good at looking like 3 or 4 waves ahead.
Right, yeah.
Like,
But right now, right? Like, just based off what happened, what's going to happen here with the wave in the next wave? What's going to happen?
it'll push back to me, I think.
Why is that?
Because the mains will probably get caught like right outside the tower when the next wave comes
Right,
in.
well,
And
yeah,
the
because
tower
this
will hit
wave,
those.
the wave's already here, right? So it's going to bank up. It's going to bank up under the tower,
Yeah.
right? So that's why when you get back, look what's happening with the wave. What's happening with the wave here?
Oh, it built up because my minion's side to the tower.
Right, and it's going this way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, lovely. This is a good opportunity to go take some short trades. Your jungler's hovering you right now, and the wave's going to be in a nice little position. Nice. Beautiful. Wow. Lucky that list didn't use R there.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, lovely. We get a nice little kill there. We shove the wave in. Excellent. Nice little ward. Now walk me through this. So you didn't really want to reset, I'm assuming, because you didn't have much gold. You see that the wave is kind of pushing out bot. Is that the thought process?
Yeah.
Okay. So we burn a flash. Look, not too bad. I mean, look, it was kind of hard for you to take their Raptors this early anyway. Plus, you couldn't really buy much. So I don't mind it. And the wave was shoving out. So, yeah, it's an okay opportunistic roam. Okay. Lovely. And what are you thinking here?
Honestly, I don't really know.
Yeah, that's okay. If you don't know what you were thinking or you weren't thinking, just let me know. It just makes... I'm just trying to understand what you do and don't understand. Like, what is going through your mind when you're playing. All right, lovely.
Yeah. I was
Sorry, go on.
a little bit confused what to do here because she pushed it and I had gold that I could have possibly recalled with.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stayed and
Yeah.
I guess I decided to all in.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't really mind this, honestly. You've taken a really...
And now because she's low, I'm shoving.
Yep, and we do a nice EQ flash. Excellent. Okay. So I'm starting to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, which is really nice. Now, at this point, you're in a pretty good spot, right? I mean, you're farming okay. You've kind of stabilized this lane a little bit. We still are quite threatened by enemy jungler, given that we don't have flash and we're quite squishy. And between Vi and Liss, you can be quite vulnerable. Now here, by the way, did you have an idea about where Vi was, or you're thinking like, screw it, I'm going to send it anyway?
Kind of that, yeah. I kind of guessed that she would have head towards top because Nocturne was ulting someone.
Yeah.
So that was like really the only thing I was thinking about in terms of where Vi was.
Okay, very, very close. We do get the Liss ult. And here comes Vi. I mean, Vi could have came from anywhere there. It doesn't matter if it was through the lane, behind you, left side, right side. We didn't really know. Okay. Lovely. So what we're going to do, we're going to keep it very simple for today. We're going to break down how to improve the consistency and reliability of your early lane. Okay? Now, I want to first highlight what I believe to be your strengths. Number one, you're a classic, you've got a lot of beautiful champion mastery with Yasuo, in the sense that you understand how to take good quality trades. You understand how much damage you can do. Like, your damage assessment is quite nice. You understand a lot of time how much damage you can take in the 1v1. And your execution of plays is actually quite nice. Like your win walls, your Q flashes, your E short trade, EQ short trade, E out, your autoing before your ultimate. Like little things like that. The actual execution of the mechanical side of Yasuo is great. And I assume in games where the jungler either doesn't have threat onto you or doesn't choose to gank you, you're probably going to run over the opponent and it's going to be relatively straightforward. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Yeah, so in the isolated 1v1, you're going to be a lot of the time completely fine. One huge problem with Yasuo, and something you really got to understand, is that, Yasuo is one of the strongest 1v1 champs in the game. You win a lot of matchups. But the biggest weakness of Yasuo is the fact that you're very committal. You have to kind of go in to do your damage. You can't really sit back and relax. And your mobility is tied to minions. So that's very, very important to understand. And you don't really build that many defenses. So your durability comes largely from your kit rather than items, which means in the early game you can be quite squishy. So combined with being committal, not having inbuilt mobility dependent on minions, and also being quite squishy, and you're being a melee, obviously, you're quite vulnerable to ganks, and it's very easy to kill. And that, it's a bit of a meme in League where it's like, if the advice I give people when they verse Yasuo is just let them kill themselves. Like, they will die. Like, just don't die. Keep the wave on your side. The Yasuo will die. And it, nearly works every single time. Now, as a Yasuo player, the skill set that you're going to have to develop is you're going to have to figure out, how do I balance trading? How do I take good quality trades? How do I go for good all-ins? How do I farm well without dying? That's the problem you're trying to solve. And this is very important. It's very important to understand why you're dying, how to prevent dying, things you can do with the wave, etc. to prevent dying. All right, so this is what we're going to be talking about now. Now, this isn't going to be some little quick fix solution where it's like, just do this and you're never going to die to ganks again. What we're going to actually have to do is we need to get you in or sorted with a process, in the sense, like teach you how to genuinely review and figure out why you're dying. Right? So I'm going to go from a more fundamental understanding of the game. Threat. Threat is one of the most core elements of the game of League. And when you think of dying to ganks, what do most people say? What you said at the start. And I even thought this at the start when I first started coaching, was I always thought to myself, just ward and lean, right? That's the common advice you get, right, from either coaches or you hear it on content, whatever it is. If you're dying to ganks, you need to ward and lean. But when you think of it, warding and leaning, it's more of like, that's more like the end. That's something you do that's like the solution to the problem. But what you first need to understand is why the problem exists in the first place. So you're only going to ward and lean if you genuinely feel threatened, right? Like, for example, if you drove, let's just say hypothetically that it was actually impossible to die in a car crash, no matter how bad you crashed. Say we're in an alternate reality. Well, no shit, you're not going to put on a seatbelt, are you? Because you're not going to die. You're not going to get injured. You're only putting on the seatbelt and driving carefully because you genuinely feel threatened. You understand the dangers of potentially crashing the car. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the same thing for League. You're not going to ward and lean if you don't feel threatened. So when I'm watching you play, this is the super interesting thing. When I'm watching you play, I'm feeling shit scared, right? Like, a lot of the time when I'm watching you play, I'm shitting myself. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I literally have a sick feeling in my gut, or wherever you want to call it, that thinks you're going to die at any second now. But when you play, that doesn't exist. But how interesting that. That's not a logical thing. I'm not thinking about that. I'm feeling it. Threats, as a concept, is actually largely feel. It's largely feel. And the best players in the world, in every rank, don't need to think about warding because it's a natural byproduct of feeling threatened. So you may ask them, Curtis, well, how do I develop this intuition of feeling threatened? How do I bring it about? How do I teach this? How do I learn this? Sorry. Well, it's a good question. Remember back in the earlier in the review, I asked you, do you review? And he said no. Right, and that's okay. Not everyone reviews. And a big reason why people don't review is they don't understand the value of reviewing. They don't understand what they would be looking for. Now, when it comes to reviewing, there are two things that it does. Number one, when you look at a negative event, so let's go to a moment where you die to a gank, right? Or let's go to a moment where you actually get ganked. That's actually the most important one. Because here you could have easily died, right? It was a little bit lucky that you survived. I mean, this one actually not too bad. You actually did have the ward down. But let's go to a moment where here you got ganked. Now, there's two parts of the review. There's the actual number one, which is actually just this observing it and looking at it and trying to logically understand what happened. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, what actually happened? And what I mean by that, it's like, okay, I got ganked because my wave was in a bad spot, or I got ganked and I got collapsed on by the Vi, and she has a lot of gap close. I didn't understand how that worked, or Liz has a lot of great gank setup, whatever it might be. Like, you have to just logically break down and observe what the hell just happened. The second part, and the most important part actually of reviews, is the development of the intuition. Because now, when you look at this, especially when you nearly die, and especially at a moment where you do die, which actually happens in a second here. Where is it? Let's go to a moment where you do die. Well, you actually get quite lucky in a lot of moments in this game, but let's say, yeah, I think it was this one here, where you do die. You can say to yourself, oh wow, I'm actually very volatile. Holy shit, I can actually die. I mean, I could have died many different ways. Actually, what the hell was I doing? I was shoved up so aggressively. Holy shit, it's so easy for me to die. So what's going to happen? When you review that, the second part of things, you're going to think, oh, you're connecting an event that happened in the game with a painful experience, with an emotion. You're connecting it with an emotion. And this is the most important thing. You're connecting an event with a raw emotion. Now, this is what develops intuition over the long run. So if I were you, and I were, kind of starting out my journey with Yasuo and kind of going through this process, I would be going through the first 8 minutes, probably first 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. And I'd be starting to, first of all, I would obviously go to the key negative moments. Whether it be, let's say, a time where you're dying to a gank, a time where you're forced to blow flash, a time where you died in 1v1 in a solo kill, a time where just any negative scenario, and I would try to figure it out. What the hell happened? What the hell? Just observe. Now, if you do this again and again and again, you're going to start to notice trends. You're going to start to notice things that feel bad and look bad. Now, remember what I said a lot of time? I was asking a lot about wave management in this game, right? I was saying, well, what did you want to do with the wave? And, did you think about the wave? The reason I was asking that question is because this wave state, looking at it, for me, I don't know and this is a genuine question to you, does this feel bad, this wave state?
Yeah.
Right. So notice, that's because, you have that Yasuo mastery. This, you can already tell, you don't need to be very sophisticated. As long as you have the actual champ mastery, this feels bad, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. It feels bad here as well, doesn't it? Again. So now you can use your intuition that you can use your current intuition to then reverse engineer. Oh shit. This is a negative event. This feels bad. And then you could use this as a sign to go into your review and like, why is the wave in this position? Or what's going wrong? Why do I feel threatened? Why do I feel bad? Why does this feel bad? So then you might think, oh shit, okay, well how do I prevent this? So then you go back and you say, is there a way I could have crashed this second wave? Was there a way that I could have punished Lissandra level 2 as well as gotten the wave out? Probably. You probably had to auto this wave a little bit more than you did, right? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? See how then you would reverse engineer, you'd go back and there's small little alterations that you can make in order to not put yourself in that situation. Because if you'd ordered it a little bit more than you did, you would have been able to get this wave in before this next wave arrives. And then the wave would have bounced out. You would have been rocking and rolling, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So you see how, there's two ways. You can actually use negative experiences in the game, raw negative experiences, whether it's a gank, a death, whatever, to then refine your intuition. But you can also use intuition as a tool to actually figure out what's going on and expand your knowledge and your game sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for you, a few areas that I'd be looking for. Number one, I'd be looking for wave management. how do I get the wave? Or the problem you're trying to solve is how do I take good trades, but constantly get the wave in good quality locations? Where does it feel good to have it? Well, it feels good to get it back on my side. So either you're shoving, taking that level 2 trade, letting it come out, or you might not hit the wave at all level 1, except that you're not going to get a level 2 trade, but then the wave will be on your side by level 3, and then you can make up for what you lost at level 2. But throughout the entirety of the lane, that has to be muscle memory. I mean, that has to be intuition, doesn't it? Like, all you should be thinking about, really, you shouldn't need to think about the trades. All you need to think about is, how do I get the wave in a good spot so I can take the trades? Because the trades you don't need to think about, do you? Like this trade, you don't need to think about it. You just do it. Like this trade that you took here. So then, either you're going to get this really good trade here and then reset the wave, or you're going to kill them immediately. Now, where it gets complicated is that you need to ask yourself, well, could I have actually died doing this? Am I actually under threat? Is there any way that I could have died? Well, in my opinion, probably yes, because you didn't know where Vi was, you didn't have a ward, you probably could have just died again. So then, what is the solution there? Well, maybe you can actually duck off and get a ward on that one side. Maybe you can, maybe you can't take this aggressive trade that you want to take because you feel under threat. Maybe you have to hold the wave here temporarily for a little bit longer until you get necessary information. That's ultimately up to you, man. I can't play the game for you. Those are all potential. The most important thing is that you're actively identifying the issue and the problem. So notice how it's all larger, especially when you're playing a champion like Yasuo. You really need to develop that intuition. And that threat assessment, in my opinion, it's non-existent. You're never actually going to ward with your current levels of threat assessment. No matter how much I tell you to ward, it's going to be a waste of time, because even if you did ward, you wouldn't even look at the map anyway. It actually wouldn't matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, number one, like I said, to reiterate, number one, I want you to be now in your reviews, and this is something I want you to be thinking about in your reviews only. Don't worry about it in-game for now. In your reviews, when you're looking over your first 8 minutes, I want you to look at your wave states. What situations in the game felt good and what ones felt bad? And have a hypothesis about how you could have fixed them up. That's step number one. Number two, whenever you feel it's like something's wrong, you feel threatened, or maybe if you don't feel threatened, maybe you die to a gank, or maybe you blow flash, or maybe whatever it might be, you get ganked or you get solo killed. Look at it, observe it, and register it as a painful experience and identify why it happened. Why did I nearly die? Why did I get ganked? What about this champion threatens me? Now, if you do this again and again and again and again, inevitably, when you play with intensity, you play with focus, you're going to be already in the loading screen thinking, holy shit, I'm versing a Liss, I'm versing a Vi, I need to get my shit together, and I probably need a ward in advance and be really careful about my wave states.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Got it.
Just intuitive.
Yeah.
It just makes sense, right? It's just common sense.
Got it.
Okay, and do you have any questions?
Yeah. For top side here, where is a good spot to ward?
Well, ideally, the best warding locations are the ones that are like give you plenty of like time. The dot brush is really good. You can even kind of do just like that corner, that ledge there, that corner, so you kind of see that entrance, and that ledge there. They're probably like the 2-3 best locations.
Okay, got it.
And now, don't worry, and sometimes, by the way, you don't need to shove the wave in fully to get a ward out. Sometimes, when the wave is here, you can actually ward preemptively before the wave shoves out, which gives you the ability to aggressive trade. And the great thing about Yasuo, what you'll see with a lot of great Yasuo players, hence why they like neutral state or slightly on their side, what they like to do is if they're feeling a little bit threatened by the enemy jungler, and maybe they don't, no matter how much vision they get, they're still threatened, they take short trades. They will E, Q, auto, E, out. That's why neutral state and here is so important. So then you might find in your own reviews, is there a way that you can take a short trade without fully ruining the wave? And that's what I was actually thinking back here. When you came back to lane, look at the wave. What's happening with the wave here?
It's pushing into me.
Yeah, it's slowly pushing into you, right? Because this cannon's way more healthier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what you could have done is maybe let it milk it a little bit. Let Liz hit it a bit. Thin it a bit. Rather than autoing it, maybe rather than doing as much damage as you did to the minion wave, leave some of the HP. Just walk back through the minions. Don't EQ it and stuff like that. That's why, so rather than queuing and stuff, milk the fact that the wave is in a really good location. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Alright, man. So I want you to have a go at this. You know, have a go. See how it feels for you. Get into the review. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable because you've never reviewed before, whatever. Have fun with it. Make sense of it. Don't, you know, every little one of these things is a miniature problem that you're going to unwind.
Got it.
All right. And then if you have any issues, problems, you're confused, just let me know and hit me up in the League Chat channel or whatever.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
No problem, man.